Welcome to Cross Platform Podcast, where we discuss how to solve productivity problems across platforms. I'm Augusto Pinaud.
And I'm Art Gelwicks.
Good, because for a moment I thought you were not there
I
anymore.
wasn't sure, Okay, pause for dramatic build. I, I got distracted. Okay, I was thinking about
Good,
something
good.
else. So
That is very good. Anyways,
that happens to me
today
all the
we're
time.
we are that's if you think that doesn't happen to me, that's just a lie. Anyways, we are here for the tips of the week, and we have three things that we're going to talk. I don't know how much there are tips, but there are three things we're going to talk. The first thing we're going to talk or geek out, it is the Nova Air 2 from Books.
Oh,
And
I didn't even know you had it in hand. I thought you were just going to
oh
talk about it.
yes. No, no,
Ah,
no.
if you're
It is
watching the
here.
show, he's got stuff on the screen. It's a
I
pretty
have
device.
toys in the office.
It's a pretty
So
device.
it is a very pretty device. It is very thin. It is larger than the Kindle.
Mm-hmm.
And the power for me in this, it has access to the Android store. So you can install Android applications in this thing and it worked well.
Does it? Now that I didn't
Yes.
realize was a thing. And that's e-ink, right?
That's e-ink. So that
Okay.
was the reason for me to test this device is I am getting into a project and I wanted a device that was disconnected from my network.
Right.
Okay, because part of the work I'm going to need to do will require a lot of concentration, and I decided that I wanted a device that was disconnected from the network, so it could not be an iPad. It needed, so I wanted a Chromebook, and I wanted a tablet because there was going to be documents
Mm-hmm.
reading. So that was my criteria. I wanted preferably an Android tablet, and I wanted e-ink because of the amount of reading I'm expecting it's going to
Mm-hmm.
have. Okay, and I tried. We had an old Kindle Fire,
Mm-hmm.
and I tried that. Okay, and I was okay. It's not a bad tablet. The battery of the seven it lasts nothing, so I need to charge consistently. That was annoying, but it doesn't have the input capability. So
Okay.
for handwriting, if I want to draw stuff into those PDFs, I can't. With this device, I can install any application of the
Nice.
App Store, and it is very, very nice. So yes, it is a one trick pony. Okay. I bought this device to be a one trick pony. It's a device
Right.
that I can carry with me to certain meetings where I need to be isolated with everything else. And for that purpose, it does incredibly well. And it can do a basic email. So the reason I wanted to bring it as a tip of the week is we have, all of us, and we discussed 2 weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, I don't know, but we discussed about note taking, and we discussed about what we are doing with all those reading things, and that was one of the things. The
Mm-hmm.
reason for this device is, again, I'm having this project that is going to have a ridiculous amount of content that I need to read, analyze, and make notes. And I wanted something that will not distract me from it. So,
Okay.
uh, but part of the consideration is okay, I live on an iOS ecosystem and how
Right.
this is going to work and how I'm going to be able to send me stuff because I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
for example, if I get the PDF via email on my iPad, how is going to be sent to this? And there is an app for the iPad that then I can send and connect and all this. So this being a very, very interesting toy, and maybe not be a tip, it's more like the toy of the week, but here is my
Mm-hmm.
toy of the week.
It's a fascinating device because we've talked about the remarkable for a number of different times, and I'm still not totally sold on the concept and the closed platform. The fact that that's running Android is fairly intriguing to me. I'm a little taken aback by the price point that I'm seeing on it, but
It's
that
around 350,
yeah,
the
that
price
350 price
point.
point I think throws it into the mix with other devices. For example, and not to be the fanboy here, but Samsung's upgrading or
Mhm.
refreshing their S6 Lite, which puts it in the
Agreed.
same price range, and you have that same capabilities. You could, in theory, use focus mode on that and lock it down. But that's a
You
setup that you
can.
have to go through.
You can, and
And
that was one of the considerations I did. Okay, I can go and buy an iPad Mini 6 and
mhm,
use focus mode and all that, and I can even on the iPad disable the color so it looks like e-ink. Okay. And I made all those considerations. Okay, price wise was competitive one or the other. That is the reason I went from the books was because I asked the following question, and this is when the books win. Okay, you do all this. And what's going to stop you from not activating and integrating this with your system?
right.
And you may
Not
guess the answer.
well, and that's a really valid point. If it's not going to prevent if it's not going to keep you from breaking the rules, the odds are pretty good you're gonna.
That you will. Right.
No, and
Yeah.
that completely makes sense to me. I think that is a very warranted evaluation of the product, knowing that an inherent limitation actually turns out to be a benefit rather than a detriment.
Correct. Correct. And that allows me even I will not buy the Remarkable. I will not buy the Remarkable because of the apps. Okay. I want to have
Okay.
certain part of my world. Okay, I love that I put the Kindle in here and only downloads the books that or papers or things that are related to this project. And I know when this project ends, I can repurpose the device. This project may not end. This is a really long term project, but I can if I
Hmm.
decide to. But on the Remarkable, I don't have that ability. That said, if you are the person who just going to throw things to that device and it's a silo and you don't care,
Hmm.
the device may be a good one. Okay. If you don't want it, in your case that you live on Android, yeah, the connectivity with Android and this device may not be that great if you are in a project like what I'm
Right.
discussing about. So there were a lot of considerations into this toy for that. For me, was the key things were that this device I wanted to be isolated, and
Hmm.
this fits, a lot of those boxes. The
And
battery
that's
is pretty decent, and it works very well.
and I think the battery's a big win too. I mean, if the battery's good, the display is good, it's meeting your key requirements, it falls within the price spec. It's a good solution all the way around, especially from an evaluation standpoint. I
It
like
is.
I like that approach. So yeah, I think it's a good tip. What's your next one? Your next one kind of
The
goes on the
next
other
one
side of your face.
it goes on the other side of the face. And the link in the show notes is for Seni Optical because that was the first place I hear uh, this reference. Okay,
Hmm.
and it's the progressive for workplace. Okay, when your glasses, if you use glasses, okay, they tend to be the top for distance, and then they are designed to see 20 feet forward.
Hmm.
Okay, that is great, except when you sit here in the computer, you need 3 to 5, or you have on a desk, you don't need 20 feet.
Right.
And I thought that was the only way to get it. Okay, you
Hmm.
get these things and you don't see anything, and you get frustrated or put them in the top of your head, thing that I do quite often. So um, we came to the discussion of show
Hmm.
of this Senate, and you actually make those glasses. So I walk into or I drove to um, the place where I get my glasses. I had an old frame. I love this frame, and
Hmm.
I walk into the place I do my glass and ask him, and the guy jump in excitement. Oh yes, we have this brand and this brand. And I'm looking at the guy like, dude, I've come here. Said that I work in computers all day. Why
Hmm.
you haven't offered this to me before? And he's like, oh, I stopped offering because most people don't want to have more than one pair of glasses,
Right.
even with the benefits.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, but I spend so many hours on the computer. It would be fantastic.
There.
But most people, apparently, for what he shared with me, don't want it. So, but if you are willing to digest to have more
Hmm.
than one, okay, what these do is they recalibrate your formula so
Hmm.
you can have what you are using to short read and mid range here at 3 to 5 feet instead of designed to let you watch 20. Yeah, may not be the glasses to drive. I get it. Put the glasses to drive, leave them in the car, and now you have the ones to your day to day, okay, to work. How many, when I'm here in the office or the house, I don't need 20 feet. All that I'm looking is 3 to 5.
I have what I'm wearing right now are the exact glasses that he's talking about. These are Zenni optical glasses. These are progressive lenses set up for reading as well as for prescription. I have a relatively nasty prescription, but these are calibrated for computer use. So therefore, in the middle of the lens down, it is set up for a focus distance of 3 to 5 feet. If we are willing to spend $1,500 on a device with an OLED display and 4K resolution, why would you not spend $50, $75, $100 on a set of lenses that makes it worth looking at? This was the best decision I've ever made when it came to computing in 30 plus years of doing it. Because when I finally had to move to progressive lenses, which are a great way to handle bifocals, and yes, that came a lot sooner than I had planned on. Regular bifocals wound up with the side effect of a crick in my neck because I always had to tip my head back too far to be able to see the screen through the bottom part of it. This adjustment in the lens, complete night and day. Yes, these stay at my computer. When I go to sit down at my computer, I take off my regular glasses, I put on these. When I'm done the day, I take these off and I put on my regular glasses. And you know what that does? We've talked about it before. That gives me a start and an end to my day because I know mentally that when I take these off, I'm done for the day. It is a declarative step in the life cycle of my workday, but it also makes it so much more comfortable to work with. This is one of those tips that when we talk about well-being and quality of life, this is an investment that pays for itself within days, not months, not years. I mean, it's an immediate difference. And it's it's really surprising that more people don't take advantage of it. The reason why I say Zenni is because honestly, I'm cheap and Zenni has never done me wrong with good quality lenses, good quality frames at a really ridiculously low price. So I'm a big fan of theirs. And I have actually 3 sets of glasses from Zenni. If they're low enough price and they're good, you can get multiples.
My has nothing to do with that. It has to do with this frame. Okay, this frame, as if you are watching on the video, the legs are not straight, are curved towards the center. And what that do is I can move my head, I can shake, I can do anything, and those things don't move. So the reason I didn't went with Zenit has nothing to do with Zenit. It has to do with the frame.
Yep.
They don't have a frame like this. And this, I've been using glasses for more than, I don't know, but long enough. And this is the first frame that I found. One, I don't take them off. I go to bed, I read, okay, and I fold them in any direction possible, except that what is appropriate. And this, they can straighten them up again, okay, and I don't destroy them. I have destroyed so many of them that now these ones that last me, yes, they are not cheap, but because they don't get destroyed, okay, I don't replace them only. And one of the things that came out of COVID is this brand used not to replace the glasses. They were really painful about it. They wanted you to buy the new frame. After COVID, after 2022, they now are replacing just the crystals. So that make it even cheaper for me to do. Because they're replacing, I was surprised, they are replacing the crystal at the same price that will cost me to put those crystals in a new frame.
Huh. Okay. Well, regardless of where you get them or how you get them, if you have corrective lenses, getting corrective lenses calibrated to computer use are worth it. And I'm not talking about just getting the blue blocking coating on it and all. That's a whole different conversation. I'm talking ones where the prescription is set up for that working distance. talk to your optometrist, show them the distance you normally work at, have them test your eyes at that distance, and then get the prescription accordingly. If you're a contact lens wearer, the odds are pretty good you're still going to have readers that you have to wear over top of it to get things in focus. That's a whole, even me with
That's a whole
progressive
different game.
I have progressive contact lenses too, and that doesn't change the fact that I'll still wind up with readers on top of those. So I figure one more layer and I'll be able to see Saturn. So, but this basic setup of just these prescription glasses calibrated to the computer, just I can tell right away when I don't have them on. I'll sit down and I'll look at the computer and like, what? Where are my computer glasses? And then just go from there. So, okay. So those are your 2 tips. And I'm going to throw out my tip here and we'll wrap this up for today. My tip's actually a really easy one. It's limited to Android tablets, but it's one I started using a couple weeks ago. Oh, it isn't? Okay. Well, you can fill that in on the back end. So apparently it's not limited to Android tablets, but it is a really cool tablet function. And that's split screen mode. Now, we've done it a lot on the desktops. We've done it in Windows and on Mac where you have 2 windows side by side. They take up the whole screen. It's very convenient. On tablets, you can do the same thing. On Android, what you do is you hold the I forget the name of it, but the multi-screen view or the tabs view where you're pulling up all the active applications and you tap on the icon. And in most cases, if you have the right version of Android, you'll have an option to say show in split screen view. What it'll do is it'll take that app, shove it over to the side, and then ask you what other app do you want to run in the other half of the screen. Now, I really recommend you do this in landscape view because you get the side-by-side view. But oh my goodness, it's so much more convenient. Just for this show series today, I had Notion, which is our tool for managing the shows, in one side, and I had OneNote in the other side so I could take my handwritten notes. They're laying on one plane of glass, works great, functions without a problem. This is a really simple tip that you may want to try if you find that you have 2 applications you're bouncing back and forth between quite a bit to work on.
In the iPad world, you can do that too. I think hardware-wise, on the Mini was the Mini 4, on the 9.7s or 10s, I don't have an idea. On the Pros, all of them did the split screen, and you can do 50% or you can do 75-25 either side, and that make it really powerful when we record anything but idle. Okay, I tend to have the articles in one side and then the show notes on the other one. That's one use I do. In this one, I do Notion in one side and my notepad on the other one, like you. So yes, you can do that also in the iPads, in the tablets, and it works incredibly well. You can even do it on the Mini and then have handwriting on one side and whatever. So when I read, sometimes I do that 75-25, so that way I have a little space to make scratch notes, and then I'm continue reading on the other side.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those types of things that it's kind of like the glasses. The first time you do it, you go, is this really going to make a difference? And then from that point on, you're like, why wasn't I doing this before? I mean, we do it on the desktops. Why can't we do it on the local? And on Android, I can even do a pop-up view where you get a floating window, which we expect on every other platform. Well,
you can do it on there. You can do it, but the pop-up window has proved to me it's great for a little quick thing, but it's not something that I want to use permanently. The split
screen's much better.
Is something
and when
that
you
I do
look,
all the time.
It's really useful when you have a larger device. So, for example, I have a 6S Lite, which is a fairly small screen real estate. So it works okay. But if I had like an S8 Ultra, which is this massive plane of glass, then it's perfectly designed for that. That's the type of functionality that we're finally seeing coming out. And to tie all the way back to Google I/O, Google is really committing themselves to tablet forward, not including their tablet. We won't talk about that beastie, but everybody else's tablet leveraging the operating system. I think we're going to see more of these capabilities, especially from the developer side, where they take advantage of that.
Let me give you an additional free tip that you are not going to like.
Uh-oh.
If you have a stagger devices, as I do, I have an iPad that is on top of this screen, okay, that I use for Zoom calls and stuff. But when I am not using it for that, normally it's turn on. Half of that has my task management, and the other half has a calendar all the time open.
I
It's
think that there's nothing
I
wrong with
can
that.
just look up and
Yeah.
have the answer in seconds. Don't need to move what I'm doing on the bottom.
Split screen is a great function, and
It is.
we'll take it away from the tablet world. I have a Chromebook that I use that I've dedicated. One side of the screen is my client email for the system that I log into, and the other half is Microsoft Teams for my interaction with that team. It just sits there. It is a control station. It is a terminal that is its job. It doesn't do anything else because it's just a Chromebook. But it's a perfect solution to that need. And at the end of the day, when I'm done, I just close the lid and move on. We had in our topics episode this week, we talked a lot about end of life of devices and repurposing devices. These are the types of things that make perfect candidates for this type of repurposing.
Correct.
When it's not your primary device, but it can still serve a purpose, you might as well do that. I mean, I could see absolutely taking some of these devices and repurposing them into those dedicated functions as part of your system. So
Yep.
split screen. If you haven't tried split screen, try split screen.
You should. And with this, we get to the end of the show. Follow us where you like to listen to podcasts. Like us, subscribe to us, and leave us a review. You can also interact with us in personalproductivity.club. We are Augusto Pinaud and Art Gelwicks. See you next time from your favorite device.